This is going to trigger a lot of people. But that show, Lost, is not as great as people make it seem. I ain't gonna lie, it's a good show, but it could have been a great show and one of the best shows I have ever seen if it ended right after season 4. I know, like, you might say, okay, it's not the writer's fault, it's the studios, the studios love the ratings, so they wanted to prolong it as much as possible so they can make their money. But in a perfect world, okay, you can just ignore that. But we cannot as the consumers, because that's all we get. Sometimes we don't know what goes on, in the background with the studios and the writers and everything like that. Allow me to explain how the prolonging of the show affected me. The most controversial thing about Lost is the ending, right? After season 4, I was taken out of the show so much that I did not care enough about the ending for me to be mad at it. That's how it affected me. I saw it a few years ago, so I don't remember everything, but I remember most of the main cast made it out. The people who stayed wanted to stay, and people who got out wanted to get out. An episode later, what do you mean the island is not done with me yet? I feel like that is one of the biggest ass pulls that a show has done to prolong itself that I've seen. It was so cheap, right? It's so easy to just say this spiritual, monstrous, powerful island is not done with you yet, so you absolutely have to return. And guess what? You cannot deny it, right? Even if you try to avoid it, you will be back some way, somehow. And it was so easy. It was such an ass pull, and it just pissed me off. And the last 2 seasons was literally one of the hardest things I had to do ever regarding a TV show. But I feel like the fact that I still think the show is good speaks to the volume of how good it is. At the end of the day, Lost gets a 3.5 out of 5. It could have been a 4.5 to a 5, but for that reason, it cannot get that from me.